Hey everybody, I want to do a brief video breakdown of ITUS Corporation ITUS stock. It's 9/19/2017 and the stock broke out today at the end of the day. And if you look at the 5-day chart, it was actually at 67 cents a few days ago. It popped up pretty good yesterday, and then today it kind of died throughout the day, then had a random pop in the afternoon here into the close. So the question is this move legitimate, or is there something else behind this? It's fishy. Does this make sense, and is it warranted? And the answer to that question is very simply no. It's not. A lot of people are pumping this stock. They're talking about how it's going to the moon. You see them in Twitter. You see them on stock twits and the other message boards just talking about how it's going to keep going up. But the fact is, there's no justification to that outlook. Of course, when someone's long a stock, they want to go ahead and blast out and say how great it is, how far it's going to go, how great the company is. But the truth is, they're just trying to further their agenda. I'm actually the one that is being honest and giving it to everybody straight. Yeah, the stock has had a big move, definitely. So for the longs that were in, congratulations to them for making some money. But the truth is that this is a shady Nasdaq deficient stock. If you look right here, this is my Fidelity Active Trader Pro software. You can see right here it's listed ITUS Corporation as D deficient. Issuer failed to meet NASDAQ continued listing requirements. Now, if a stock's down under $2 a share, right off the bat, it's shady. If it's NASDAQ deficient, that means they're not taking care of business. They're not doing what they need to do. They're not, maintaining the minimum dollar stock price, and there's a reason for this. So right away, if you see that this is the case, you know that something's a little bit shady. Now, it's a really low float stock. I think it's like 10 million float, which means it can move big, and it has. But you don't know what's behind this. There could be a stock promotion, people sending out email, newsletters, et cetera, blasting out email pump campaigns. There could be a stock promotion. It could be a broker, pushing this thing. You don't know. I've seen some pretty big bids and asks moving on both sides, and that kind of tells me that there is a big fish stirring these waters up, pushing this thing up. And so, yeah, you can't just assume because this thing's moved big the move itself is warranted. So let's take a look at the news itself. And let's I'm going to be honest here. I mean, I'm going to tell you guys exactly what I see. And when you look at the news, all there is really recently is a simple patent. Okay? ITUS gets patent on cancer detection technology. All right? And when you look through here, um, you can see that it says this is the first patent to issue of several patents that we expect to issue garnering protection of our cancer detection technology. So Dr. Kumar here is saying himself that this is just one patent that's going to help aid uh, in getting protection for their supposed cancer detection technology. So he's pretty much saying that they need several other patents to really make it safe. So this one patent, does it warrant a move of from 67 cents to $2 based on this patent? No, absolutely not. So obviously something else is going on here. And so let's take a look at a couple of things. One thing that I find really convenient is if you look here in the news, okay, you'll see, where is it? Recently, they were given notice from NASDAQ that they were not in compliant with the minimum dollar per share that's required. I know it's in here. I just got to find it. Here it is right here. Okay. ITUS files 8K listing notice. So notice of delisting or failure to satisfy continued listing rule or standard with the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission on August 18, 2017. Received the staff to issue notice from the NASDAQ stock market informing the company is common stock, blah, 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 failed to comply with a dollar minimum. Okay. So what this company has to do in order to stay listed on NASDAQ, which of course they want to do, they have to get the stock above a dollar. So what does the company do in this situation? Well, they find a stock promoter, or they have somebody push the stock up, get it above the dollar per share so they can get back in compliance. This happens all the time. You see it on a regular basis with all these shady little stocks, under $2 that are Nasdaq deficient. Um, it's amazing that nobody stops it and that it continues on a regular basis. You would think that it would be so obvious that somebody would have to step in, some sort of regulatory agency would have to come in and stop this nonsense, but it just keeps continuing. I've seen several stocks do the same thing recently. Also, there's the popping up and then the offering of shares at a higher price. There's definitely a high potential that ITUS could be coming up with a public offering that would crush the shareholders, would likely be at a discount, and would hurt all the longs that are holding. So in my opinion, if you're long on this and you're making some money, you really should sell this stock. So what they'll do is they'll pump it to that dollar, and they have to keep it above a dollar minimum bid price for 10 consecutive days, typically, to get back in listing compliance. So it looks to me like what this was they came up with some sort of news, maybe something they were sitting on, might even be recycled. I haven't looked that far back, but it might even be a recycled PR about this patent news. And they use the news to justify the pump that's really moving it behind the scenes. So it looks like it's a legitimate move based on this patent, but a patent, I mean, that news might warrant a 20% move in a stock. But this thing has run up huge, so it's definitely not the news. It doesn't make any sense. So what they're probably trying to do is pump it up high enough to where even if some shorts hit it or there's some profit taken, it's still going to stay above that dollar for 10 consecutive days. This is what's happening, okay? And I'm just giving it to everybody straight. I'm not hating on the longs. I'm not trying to hurt the longs. I'm actually trying to tell everybody the truth so they know to go ahead and take the profit on this move and not be silly and wait for it to correct 50% in the next week. Because that's definitely what it's likely to do. It's likely to have some big profit taking, and whoever's moving this thing is probably taking a big short position, and they're going to crush it and control the downside. So let's look at something else as well. Let's look at the chart itself. All right, look at the historical chart. You go back 6 months is what I see, and you can see that on the 6-month chart right here, there's some pretty. It just filled the 6-month gap basically to about $1.80, $1.90 area here. Kind of filled that 6-month gap. So this is strong resistance, and of course $2 is a very strong resistance area as well. Just generally, whole numbers tend to be pretty solid resistance as far as algorithms and whatnot. They like to find them and then kind of sell off. But you can see here that $2 range is definitely strong. Also, if you go back a little further, say maybe a couple years on it, you can see that previous support. There's some pretty strong resistance. 188 here, $2 area here. Around that $2 area, you can see that line is some pretty strong resistance. And being that this doesn't have any real solid news to justify the move, it looks to me like that 2 resistance could be the top, and we're probably looking at a pretty good correction from here. And I'm guessing the stock's going to drop down to at least $1 in the next week or so. I mean, my price target on this is $1 a share. I mean, it'd probably go even lower eventually in a pretty short time frame. So that's what I'm seeing on the chart. This move right here looks like a bit of a squeeze. You probably had some people that, they shorted these peaks here. And as long as you got out and took your profit, you could make a nice money on all these peaks on the short. But, if you held here, it kind of bear trapped, held this support, and then this right here looks like an afternoon squeeze. It looks to me like it could have been orchestrated, by whatever big fish is stirring in these waters. But, it looks to me like it started moving up, and then, shorts that were short here, they started getting squeezed, and then a bunch of buying came in. They're buying to cover, to keep the loss from getting too big, and then it kind of pushed it up and up. And you can see it held that 2, just what I was talking about, that 6-month 2 area here, and kind of fell off that after hours. Okay, now let's look at a couple other things as well. One thing is, I just want to make a point that, if you look at these message boards like, on Twitter or Stock Twits or The Lion or anything else that, has message boards with a lot of traders, these people are going to be talking all kinds of game about how the stock's going to the moon. The problem is it's a lie, because if you're just saying, oh, this stock is great and this stock's going to go to the moon because you're long and you want to make money, that's misleading. The fact of the matter is the stock is shady, the move is shady, and the news doesn't warrant it. That's the truth, long or short. That's the truth. Um, so yeah, so just be careful who you listen to. Um, and these pumpers, they come on, these stock promoters, they come on, they attack these message boards, and they just hammer them over and over and over with bullish comments, trying to suck people into buying. And then of course, once it blows up, the people that take their profit, they can make some good money and good for them. But the people that blow it up and they're chasing at the top, they're going to get crushed when this thing drops. And I see it happen all the time. So don't be that guy. Take your profit. Don't get greedy if you're long, and look at the short position because this thing needs to correct. Let's take a look at the 10Q to see if there's anything special, and the answer is no. I looked through here as well, and I'm looking at their current assets and liabilities here, and the revenues is nothing special. They don't have many revenues at this point, which is typical, but there's nothing in the earnings to make you think there's anything that would warrant such a move like this. And here's another thing I noticed. If you go to thestreet.com, they usually have pretty good ratings on stocks. It's actually rated an E+ sell. Okay, so that's like, basically an F is when you fail, on a test in school, and this is rated an E+, so it's even worse than that. I mean, so basically, the company's garbage, and all the talk is baloney. It's just people trying to push it up higher so they can make money. It's dishonesty is what it is. Yeah, so that's what I see on it, kind of in a brief look. My price target, again, as I said, is $1 a share. That's what I expect us to find, and I expect it to happen pretty soon. And like I said, I don't see anything else in here that warrants anything really. It really even warrants a 20% or more move. I mean, it's just kind of crazy. Now, I will say this: there were some other stocks that are a little shady as well. HMNY is one of the shadiest stocks I see. This thing blasted up as well. Also, there was something shady on the OTC market, which is the shadiest of the shady. This thing blasted up huge, apparently, on supposed FDA approval. So it's kind of convenient that all these things are running together. And the funny thing is if you look at IBB, iShares Biotech, it was actually down in the red today. Yet all these things were exploding. So it looks to me like it might even have been orchestrated and collaboration. And if you don't think this kind of thing's happening, you really, really need to do some more research, because you're definitely naive to what's really going on out there in the market. All right. Yeah, so that's going to be it. If you have any questions, feel free to email me, bprising1@gmail.com. And look for me in the next video. And again, I just want to say that I hope everybody's making money in this. I'm not trying to hurt the bulls that are long the stock. If I really thought this was a strong company and it had big news, I would say that, and I would jump in long myself. But that's just not what I see here. Okay? Thanks everybody for listening, and I'll see you in the next video. Have a good one.